Hello, I'm Rodrigues. On my first episode, I talked about rhythm. What is rhythm for you? Today, I'll be talking about rudiments. What are rudiments? Many people have listened, many people know about paradiddles, doubles, singles. On my first episode, I told you not to stick to rudiments as your language. And drummers build their sentences with rudiments and some other things. Many musicians know some of the rudiments that drummers usually play, like a paradiddle or a drag or a flam. But many of my friends sometimes tell me, I don't really understand what is a paradiddle. How do you use a paradiddle? And it's true, most of the explanations out there don't tell you these simple things, how to play a paradiddle. So today I will try to give you my example and share with you some ideas, and please tell me what you think about this. Please leave your comments. We'll learn a rudiment, we will play that rudiment, we will practice, sometimes till exhaustion, till we do it fast and good. And that's fine, you can do that. But you can also pick up a rudiment and try to make it musical right away. What I would like to share with you is this idea. You have one rudiment and you can break that rudiment into two parts. You can start by doing it a little bit simpler. I will play some very simple rudiments. If you are not a drummer, finally you can listen to them and try to understand why we use them. If you think of scales, for example, you need to practice a scale when you're a pianist, when you play the keyboards. We drummers use rudiments so that we can have technique to do the stuff we do. On my first episode, I told you that words aren't real. If you have a word written down on paper, that is a real word. It has a meaning. Rudiments are the same. If you write a rudiment down on a stave, that's a rudiment. When you play a rudiment, it's only sounds and silences. So you can have different approaches to a rudiment. Let's think about, for example, a 6-stroke roll, a 9-stroke roll, mix them with some traditional patterns, world music patterns. This is a very nice way of building up something different right away. You can learn how to play drums with a simple rudiment like 6-stroke or 9-stroke roll or a paradiddle, and you mix it with a pattern or a groove like a suku pattern. And you will have right away something interesting to play on drums. Let's talk about this. We need to talk about this. Many years ago, when I started playing drums and I started studying, I realized right away that I wouldn't be spending so many hours trying to accomplish a specific task. And when I was younger, I understood then that some people were very comfortable with chops, with patterns, with complicated stuff, trying to do coordination works, and that's really okay if that's your thing. I would advise many of you, all of those who want to learn drums, when you sit on the drums, how many hours can you be there? What are you interested in? In sounds, tuning, grooves, or difficult stuff, fast stuff, or not so fast? It is completely okay for you to do something different. You don't have to do everything the same. We are all different. You always have to work. You always need a method. You always need to put the work in. But that work can come in many different ways. It can be long hours, or it can be more focused time that you spend on drums, or on coordination, feels, technique, whatever it is. I'm sure it's very rare for you to obtain everything at every level 100%. So first of all, try to understand which drummer are you, okay? That will help you a lot. I see this every day with my students, and I try to find what works for a specific person. And I try to find what works for me. For me, it always works this that I just said. pick up a rudiment and try to make it different. Try to make it a feel or a groove. Or if you can play a song with one rudiment as a pattern, that's the best for me, because it means that you can decompose that rudiment and break it down to simpler ideas. Today I'll be talking a little bit more towards teachers, drumming teachers out there. For sure, you know this is true. We tend to have a method and we tend to apply it the same way to every student. We will have a method, a way of doing stuff, a way of doing things, and we will apply this to every student. I think everybody will agree when you're studying an instrument, learning how to play drums, for example, time counts. Everything you do counts. For example, if you study 1 month or 1 year, I think it's a very good idea that you spend that time doing stuff that will really work for you. Because if you spend 1 year speeding up your double bass drum or whatever, and you will never apply that, you will never play metal or you'll never play with that kind of language because you really don't enjoy it, then I don't see the point. I would advise you not to do this. Try to feel what you want to do professionally. All the stuff you don't want to do, try not to waste time. First of all, try to understand which kind of person you are, and then you will know which kind of drummer you may be. And then you can set your goals. We tend to forget this as drummers, as students, and also as teachers. We tend to forget that we are all different and different things work for different people. There's no shame, there's no guilt, no worries. Speaking about my first episode, I told you that I love world rhythms, ancient music. Most of the things I enjoy in music come from those particular rhythms, rhythms of the world. They gather most of the rhythms that we still practice today. I will be referring to these rhythms and patterns as rhythms with 16 pulses and 5 onsets. Of these thousands of rhythms that have 16 pulses and 5 onsets, 6 have made a significant impression in our musical history. And I will be talking a little bit about them. For this episode, I decided to combine 6 patterns with some easy rudiments to show you a very easy and approachable way for everybody, a musician who is not a drummer, a person who is a person who just started to learn drums, or a drummer who already plays and enjoys trying different stuff. So, musicians, non-musicians, people learning drums, paradiddle. Paradiddle combines the 2 first rudiments that we learn, singles and doubles. Singles and doubles. A paradiddle is a combination of singles and doubles. So we use paradiddles because most of the things we do are variations of singles and doubles. Singles once again, and doubles. When you do a paradiddle, you have a single, single, double with the right hand, single, single, double with the left hand. That's what a paradiddle is. You can accent the paradiddle or not. So all the guitarists are thinking now, okay, that's a paradiddle. That's what my drummer keeps talking all the time about. Paradiddle, paradiddle, paradiddle. I gotta practice my paradiddles. Paradiddle is one of the first rudiments that will give you something musical, because you can do singles and doubles with the right and the left hand, and you can place them wherever on the drums. Many things that you listen to or you want to play are variations of paradiddles. Paradiddle diddle, drag paradiddle. So when you pick up singles, doubles and paradiddles, you can sound musically and technically very fast. trying to share this with all kinds of levels, musicians, non-musicians, drummers, non-drummers, okay? Something that you can use on your instrument, okay? It's a rhythmic skill. It's really nice to practice on your pad, practice the speed, practice your endurance, but it's also very nice to practice your musicality. These were all variations on paradiddles. So paradiddle is a really nice rudiment that you can practice. And as you can see, drummers really use paradiddles so they can be musical and use two different techniques, singles and doubles, in different instruments on their drum set, okay? For example, with my students, I try to place only one of the double strokes on a certain 16th note. If you do this, it will be easier to approach the 6 on a progressive manner. Let's see what can happen when we pick up a rudiment and we try a progressive approach. If I do this as a pattern, for example, on the hi-hat or on my ride cymbal. Again. Then I can start to play with this pattern that's leading me to the 6-stroke roll. I can play it faster, and I can change my bass drum pattern. I can place the double on a different 16th note. As I said, if you pick up a pattern, once again, with 16 pulses and 5 onsets, 5 accents if you want, a pattern, like suku, for example. And you try to combine it with a rudiment like the 6-stroke roll, for example. This is something you can do in different levels. When you're practicing a rudiment, apply it to a pattern. I like to apply it to world patterns. It's always groovier to me, okay? It's always different. I will try to show you how you can use a pattern, in this case, suku pattern, with a simple fill based on a 6-stroke roll. It's a simple way to build your musicality on a more creative basis, okay? Hope you enjoy it. Please leave your comments below. Tell me, how do you practice your 6-stroke rolls? As you might have understood already, rolls are the numbers of the rolls, in fact, are what you play. A 5-stroke roll, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? A 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? The same happens with a 9-stroke roll. When I practice with my students, when we're practicing the 9-stroke roll, we tend to do the classical approach. Right, left, and so on. You can apply the same logic to this rudiment. You can take some of the double strokes and replace them for a 16th note. If you pick up these 4 16th notes and you double the first 2 or the last 2, you will have something like this. Many times my students ask me fills or variations, and it's very common. Sometimes we sit on the drums and we try to do variations and we can't come up with anything new or anything that fulfills us. Simple variations are cool, okay? No worries. Complex variations are also cool. No worries. But most of the times you can find many things if you pick up your rudiments. That's what I'm trying to share here with you. Please tell me what you think. What's your opinion on this? How do you practice your rudiments? If you pick up the progressive steps to a 9-stroke roll and you apply it to a groove, you might end up meeting or finding stuff like this. Coming up from a thing like this, if you would like to improve your reading skills, if you would like to learn about Portuguese traditional rhythms, folk rhythms, traditional rhythms applied to drums, if you would like to try a class with me, just send me a message. Subscribe my YouTube channel. Please leave your comments below. Send me all your ideas. I would love to discuss them. If you would like to share with me an idea about someone I can invite for my live chats on Instagram, please do. See you soon. Keep on practicing, but practice what you are.